When it comes time to remove your cutting tools, you'll want to shut power off to the machine. You'll want to remove your hood by loosening one bolt here, one bolt here, and removing the bolt in the front, allowing you to access your heads. So in this particular case, we're going to remove our counter router. So you want to just get your wrench on there. Crack her loose. And remove the cutting tool. When replacing the bit, you'll want to use our depth gauge for it, just like that. And tighten her down. And because we use the depth gauge, it'll get us really close to where we need to be, but more than likely we'll need to calibrate. So our depth gauge actually is used for all three of our cutting tools, our pre-drill, counter router, and our router. So notice that the router is flush, counter router is flush, and the pre-drill actually has an access hole for it because it is a little longer. But once you get it on there, it should be flush. So when replacing your chisels, you'll want to loosen these 3 7/16 bolts right there, slide the chisel out, and just slide the next one back in. The chisels don't have a depth gauge, they actually are just flat to the back. So when it comes time to change your screwdriver bits, you'll want to shut off your slide valves, turning off the air to the head, move it forward, slide the bolt over, which will give you more room to access the screwdrivers in the front. So notice that this cut, the counter router, which is this upper one, is now too shallow. So we will measure it with our depth calipers and adjust accordingly on our calibration screen. So now that we ran our cut and we see the difference between our counter router and our router, we'll go into our calibration screen. That was on head 2, so we'll go to head 2. And in the counter router column, we'll take the Z, which is the depth, and we're going to add 0.1 millimeters, which is roughly 4 thousandths. And that'll bring us flush with the router. So notice that we're flush now because we calibrated the difference between the router and the counter router.